What's up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be discussing the new patch and pretty much just like the new raids for the time being, right? And before I get into that, actually, I just want to apologize. I haven't done a video for a little while, and that's just because I've been sick for the past week or past few days, and yeah, even today I'm still a bit sick, but I'm starting to get better now, so I can do a video, and especially because the content's very new. Before I, just show you like what I've noticed about it, how I find it, and just like show you what I'm using for the time being. Like this is very early stage. If you recall from when we initially started doing like raids, right? The 3-man raids. The teams have evolved a lot since the first time people started out with raids, and I think for these new raids, it's probably going to be the same sort of thing. Like people are going to test stuff over a long period of time, and then eventually you work, like you will find the cookie cutter sort of builds, right? But for now, I just want to show you like the best I've managed to test for myself, and yeah, I'll discuss like some of the mechanics of each boss. So what you're looking like, what sort of units you're looking for to bring to the fight. Actually, this run's not very good for my fire one. I'll have to do it again anyway. But one of the good things about the raids is it doesn't matter if you fail, right? If you lose. So yeah, even if you fail, you still get some rewards, which is nice. You don't waste your energy, right? That's one of the really nice things about this raid. Now, just some of the basic mechanics, right? Now, there's 5 different raids, right? And each one has an element type, right? So it's one of each of the current elements: wind, water, fire, light, and dark, right? Now the basic element ones, so fire, element, water. Obviously, for these ones, you want to bring the opposing element, right? If possible. So, for example, the fire one, obviously, water units are going to work best here, right? Because you'll take less damage from the boss because he's more likely to glance on you, and it's also easier if when you're thinking about ruining monsters specifically for this raid later on in the future, right? You can run units with 85% crit rate and you'll have max crit against him. So that's something very nice. Like it makes it easier to ruin monsters against it, and of course you take less damage, so you don't need as many. You don't need as much survivability. Now the other thing is, you'll notice that there's 2 different stages of the boss. The first stage, you drop his health from 100% to 0, and then he'll transition to this current stage that you see there, where it's called the groggy stage, right? And basically he's just lying on the floor and he's vulnerable to debuffs. So if just going back, this is the first phase, right? In this phase he can't get debuffed at all, so things like defense break and stuff like that aren't going to help you. So what the things that will help you though are attack buff for getting the extra damage in, and ignore defense effects, right? Some people have been starting to build some ignore defense units. Whether they're good enough to put into the raid, I'm not too sure yet. That'll be something that people will have to test over time. And yeah, so basically you just want to drop his health as much as possible. In the first phase, he has a fixed amount of health, right? So on the first time you do it, he'll have about 200k health. Like this is the same for each of the dragons. They all have about roughly 200 to 250 base health, right? And then he'll go to his groggy stage, right? And then you can do debuffs on him, and then in that phase is when you try to do as much damage as possible to him. So if I'll sort of point it out now on this new run, but during the groggy stage, you want defense breaker to defense break as soon as possible, because that's how you're gonna do the most damage. So units like Galleon and any unit that has a first skill defense break are very nice for the boss. So things like Water Kung Fu Go are also really nice for it, because you defense break on first skill, even though it's only one turn. But think about it, like he's never gonna lose defense break because it's only one turn, as you can see. So once he gets his turn, he's gonna come back up and revive. So even one turn defense breaks are nice for the groggy stage. And branding is another like nice thing to have if you can fit it into your team. And yeah, so the way to do like really high damage is during a groggy stage, you just like pound him as hard as you can, because on the when he transitions back to the first phase, right, he always has a fixed amount of health, right? So after he revives after the first groggy stage, he'll actually have like a much larger HP pool. I believe it's about 250,000 HP, something like that. And on the second transition, he will have about 500,000 HP. Okay, so I know from at the start of this fight, I had about 1.59 damage, 1.59 million, right? So I know that if I kill him, just from pure damage alone, I'll get half a mil. And if I kill him, then I also get a bonus half mil. So as long as I can reach 1.5 mil damage before the last stage, right, which is this current stage I'm doing right now, I'll be able to do 2.5 mil, and that's a good break point because 2.5 mil is S rank, and I feel it's best to do like at least A rank, maybe preferably A plus. A plus you require 2 mil. Right, I think that's probably the minimum that I would recommend to farm this stage, because the rewards scale are based off, you know, your grading, right? And if you get a low grade, you're not really using your energy that well, even though you are guaranteed the rewards. But the drops like aren't gonna. It's gonna take you a lot longer to actually farm up the homunculus, and we also recently found out that for the homunculus skills, you can evolve the skills as well, right? The skills take even more materials than the homunculus himself to make. So you don't really want to spend. I feel like for early game players, you don't really want to waste your time on this, right? I think it's better just to farm runes, build your units, and then eventually you work out like a full element, like preferably a single element team, and build your team around that, and try to give them like good runes. And once you have once you probably get to like the late game stage where you're caring about PvP, that's probably roughly around the time you probably look towards building units for homunculus, right? Or sorry, not homunculus, the raids to build your homunculus later on. Otherwise, I don't feel it's worth spending the time. It's a very long time that you probably have to farm to unlock all the skills. By my estimation, it would be at least a week of just straight out farming throughout the whole day, right? A lot of people spend roughly about, like a day, not say 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours to actually farm the homunculus. And these sort of players are doing, S rank runs, right? So yeah, that's what I would recommend for actually farming it. Now to go into the specifics of this raid, so the fire raid, actually before that, let me use my mouse here. You can see that his bar goes up, right? And as he reaches like certain points, he'll do a certain move. So that move here is he summons what his adds. It's like fire minion summoning or something. So yeah, when he reaches that point, he'll do that ability, and it's like, yeah, so on and so forth. I don't think I've actually reached the last ability, but if he reaches that ability, I think it's just like a one-shot ability. Yeah, all right. So you want to try to kill him before he reaches that, if you're going for the kill. If you can't go for the kill, it's better just to do as much like YOLO damage through the first two stages, which is the easiest part, right? And just sort of like give up on the third stage, right? Or the third time he revives, or second time he revives, right? Now, because this is the only one that actually summons adds, and because of that, you want to bring units that have like AoE abilities. So for me, I've got Tor here, Alicia, and Soha. And you want good single target damage as well. So Tor sort of fills both roles. He can AoE the adds, and he can do really good single target burst. Because you want the burst for when he's in the groggy stage, right? So you don't want to bring too many AoE units, but you do want a decent number, especially if you're manually doing this, so that you always have any AoE ability up when the adds come up. Because if you don't kill them, they'll basically they'll charge at you and explode and do a lot of damage, especially in the last stage. So definitely try to bring at least two like good AoE nukers. And Soha in particular is really good for this this dungeon, in my opinion, because she's got the water leader ability, like attack power, 40%, and so if you bring pure element, then she's great for that. Boost that damage on all your units. And of course she has an AoE, so to kill the adds. Alright, so if you have her, I would recommend building her for this when you're ready to build units specifically for raid. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much the main things you need to watch out for on this fight. Pretty much if the adds explode on you during the last phase, it's pretty close to a wipe, right? So I think that pretty much covers it for the fire one. I will show you my teams on the other ones as well, or the other bosses. But the fire one is probably the most important one for you to farm, because I'll actually show you like after each of the bosses, but I'll talk about the new runes soon. But I think the the fight rune, which is the attack power percent aura, right? That is probably the one that you want to farm the most. I'll probably go through that at the end, along with the other runes. But the fight rune requires, I believe, 90 fire essence, so you're gonna need to farm a lot of these. And water units are great to build anyway because of world boss, so at least for now. Okay, so this is the water boss. Now the water boss, what he does is he does this move which basically blocks a bunch of your HP bar, similar to destroy, but it doesn't permanently remove it. So that's the ability, the frost breath thing. So you see these blue, the blue bar here. Those are the HP that's blocked, right? And to remove it, you have to gain attack bar, whether that's by moving normally or by like an attack bar booster like Bernard. Like either way, that's how you get rid of the blue portion, right? Because you want to get rid of that as much as you can, so that the boss doesn't kill you, right? And that's like the main mechanic. So Bernard is a really nice unit here, not only for the attack bar boost, but he also does win attack power leader if you don't have a Lucian or something like that. Like he can do that if you're using pure win teams. And another notable unit here is Ardella, which is the Wind Magical Archer. The reason for that is because her first skill does different abilities or different debuffs depending on what the what the element she's attacking. Now, for elemental advantage, right, she will do defense break. So that means she's got a defense break on her first skill, and for that reason, she's really good for the groggy stage. Right, she can apply your defense break for you. And she also does really good single target burst, so she's great for the groggy stage for all sorts of reasons. She's also very easy to build because her passive gives her 25% crit rate, right? And because she's got elemental advantage against this boss, it means you only need 60% crit rate to have max crit. So she's actually she's really easy to build for this boss, and she's got a really good skill kit for it. Scales of speed on her second skill for damage as well. So it's nice to make her pretty fast. That way, if she gets more turns, it means she can apply defense break a lot more often. I think that pretty much covers it for the water boss. My team doesn't always kill the boss, but because this boss is actually, I feel it can be a bit difficult because there's a lot of RNG involved. So it depends how much of the HP bar you can remove. Also, how much of the frozen portion you can remove. So like fast units are really good for this, I think, because the quicker you're moving, the more of the blue bar you can get rid of before the boss does his next attack. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So this is the wind boss. I feel that this boss is probably going to be the most difficult. All right. Because his special ability is really annoying. I think you have to build units specifically for this boss as well. So actually, maybe I'll pop it up here. So this boss does electric shock. Actually, you can't really read what electric shock does, but what electric shock does is see how the Tashar is sort of like, it's got a yellow bar and he's like brimming with electricity, or he was. When the units have that on them, they have they take continuous damage, similar to like the dot effect. So it's percentage based, but whereas continuous damage is 5%, the electric shock one is actually 10%, right? So what's really good for this bot, for that electric shock, is actually the HP recovery buff. Very few units provide that. The most notable one that is farmable is the Fire Panda. So the Fire Panda, in my opinion, is decent for this because he can provide the heal over time, which helps mitigate the electric shock. And he's also a defense breaker on the first skill, so he's nice for the groggy stage, but he doesn't do a lot of damage. But I guess he can just be like a frontline support. That's okay, because he'd be pretty tanky. But you need multiple healers, right? So the way to get rid of the electric shock is to heal your health bar to full. And the other annoying thing about electric shock is it reduces the healing recovery by 50%. So it's kind of like you have like a Lexi passive there. And so you need probably multiple healers to top up. For me, during the last stage, I can't keep up with the amount of damage he does plus electric shock, even with aerials, heals, and also Colleen's, because like they just take too much damage from the AoEs. So for this particular boss, in my opinion, is you're probably best off using Vampire Rune DPS, especially if they have really high single burst, single target burst. That way they can heal themselves up and try to help remove the electric shock. Unfortunately, I don't have any units built on vampire. That would be good at the moment. Things like Trevor probably would be really nice for this boss. So that might be something you might want to consider building, because he's nice on vampire anyway. But yeah, that's the general gist of the wind boss. Okay. Alright, next we'll move on to the light one. Okay, so the light one, what he does is he generates a shield as his special ability. Let me see if I can bring it up. Okay, so he creates something called distorted shield, and you can see like he's got this like barrier thing that pops out, and there's also this white bar thing. That's the distorted shield, and it gets stronger each time he does it. Right, so you want to kill him as soon as possible. That way he doesn't do too many shields. Right. So this is like a race, like a race type fight, and basically, I find he's probably one of the harder ones too, because on the final stage, he pretty much one shots like everyone. I'm not sure how to stop him from doing that. I feel it's probably you have to make sure that you don't take too many the shields. Like, you don't want him to generate too many shields. The less shields he generates, the better. But he's pretty much guaranteed to generate the first two. I don't think you can really kill him before that. But at least on the final stage, you probably try to kill him before he does like too many shields. But for now, I think the best sort of strategy to go for is just go as YOLO as possible and deal as much damage as you can during the groggy stage. All right, try to sort of push towards like around about 2 mil, and then or even just like slightly below that. That way you can try to do as much as you can to try to push to like A+. A+ being 2 mil. Okay, so with the shield, it sort of absorbs a whole bunch of damage. As you can see, like already one of my units died. So yeah, he hits really hard around about now. But I think as long as your team can get A+, that's probably good enough. See, he just completely one-shot my team. I've tried doing defense buff as well, but it still didn't really mitigate it that enough. I still just get at one shot anyway. So we'll have to figure out how best to tackle that one in the future. But that's what I've got for now. Okay, and now the dark one finally. So with the dark one, he's similar to the Necro boss. He'll imprison one of your units, but it's not like the Necro where the unit will start hitting you, right? Let me wait for it to pop up. Alright, so he's just done it here on my galleon, right? So you can see there's a countdown thing on top of him, and he was basically not moving, right? So he's basically just imprisoned, unable to do anything. And the number at the top is the number of hits you have to do to the boss to get him out of it. And he always does this ability on someone in the front line. It's random though, so actually sorry, it wasn't a galleon, it was Bella. But yeah, he always does it to someone in the front line, but it's random, so it could be like it can go to either the Kung Fu girl in my team or Bella, right? You can't control it, so you basically want to put units in there that aren't super important, like at least not during his normal phase. But on the groggy phase, once you enter the groggy phase, it will automatically remove the imprisonment. So he'll come out and you can use he can be used. But again, this one is similar to the light one in that I think he does quite a bit of damage in the third phase. Now, with the countdown thing, when you hit him, it counts multi hits, right? So if you do 7 hits, it'll remove the countdown by 7, right? I'm not really sure if it's worth putting in a lot of multi hits to get rid of it, because he will do it again later on anyway. But it's possible it might be worth. But you can see, like, I can't kill it, right? I can't kill the boss. So yeah, that's pretty much like covering the Dark Beast. So for now, what I'm trying to do is just go like all out YOLO, try to damage the groggy stage as much as I can. And yes, and go for like single target burst to kill him, or sorry, to kill the groggy stage. We'll probably have to work out in the future whether it's better to put in a lot of multi-hitters to try to break the guy out of the imprisonment. Actually, one more thing is, you will notice I put the Colleen in the back line. I think that's very important because you want Colleen to do attack buff, right? And because the attack buff is the most important while the boss isn't groggy, because that's going to increase your damage output, and of course she's going to be the main healer, so you don't want her imprisoned, right? And I feel Colleen is better than Chasun for this because Colleen's attack buff is 3 turns, whereas Chasun's only 2 turns. So I feel Colleen is a bit better in a lot of stages for raids. I'm actually using her like a decent amount. Now, just to talk a bit about the crafting of the runes. So with the crafting of runes, this is the only area that you this is the only way that you can get the new runes, which is fight, determination, enhance, accuracy, and tolerance. But you can get it from world boss. That's the only other area that I've heard of. That they drop off. Okay, so I think you want to focus on these or at least some of these runes, because just because it's the only way you can get it, right? The first one I want to talk about each one of them actually. The first one is the fight rune. So you can see this is a 7% attack to all allies, right? Well, it doesn't tell you specifically here, but that's what it does. It's like an aura, like a damage aura, and it stacks, right, with multiple users of it, and also like on the same monster, if you have multiple fight runes, they also stack. So fight runes, in my opinion, are the best out of these 5 because, first off, damage, in my opinion, is king. The more damage you're doing, it's better for PvE because it speeds up your runs, and it just makes everything faster, right? And also for PvP, killing them, if you can do more damage to kill them before they kill you, then it's just a great overall rune. And the other reason why it's really good is because most damage dealers don't need a specific set to do what they do, right? So for example, Lucians, the most optimal build would probably be Rage Blade because of the set bonuses adding damage stats. But if you don't have high quality rage runes, then usually people will just use like broken sets that have really good substats that get into the crit rate and speed that they require, and then as much damage as possible. So in a perfect world where you have all really good runes in everything, fight runes are probably the best thing to stack on your damage dealers, because especially like on AO, you can run 4 different units that can have potentially using fight runes. and if you have, hang on, 7. If you have at least 6 sets of of the fight rune, which is quite easy because it's only a 2-set bonus, like 2-set piece, then you're already gaining more. It's basically a fatal set for your whole team, right? Just from those 6 sets of runes. So to put it into perspective, let's say you're running Bernard, Seek, Devolution, right? Like in that team, only Bernard really needs like a specific set, which is Swift, right, to move as fast as possible. And then you probably want to give him your best fight runes that have speed. So he can hold 1 fight set, and then both the 2 Lucians and Seek can run 3 sets of fight each. So that in total you can have 10 fight runes, and that's 70% attack percent buff. That is insane, insane boost to your whole team, right? So this is probably the rune that most people will farm most heavily, right? And of course, in raids and stuff like that, if you want to speed up your team, the best way is to increase attack power. So, if your team can already survive and doesn't need any defensive runes, then fight runes are really nice to put onto your support units. Like, say you're running a DS or a Darien frontline, just give them 1 revenge set for the extra, like the chance to revenge and debuff, and then just give them 2 fight sets. And that will increase the damage of your other damage dealers, and your raid can do more damage and clear it faster. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the 3-man raids. Even in the new raids, the elemental raids, fight runes help even more in there because there's 6 units, right? And so yeah, if you can fit fight runes in there, it's definitely will help you out your damage there. Okay, so I talked a lot about that one, but I think that rune definitely deserves a lot of explanation. Because that's like the one rune I've been waiting for. All right, now we were talking about the determination rune, which is the same sort of aura rune but for defense. Now this rune is pretty good for like starting out, like progression wise. Defense helps a lot for survivability. So if you're struggling in raid, like 3-man raids, and you can craft some determination runes, then that will help increase the survivability of your team, and help you last longer. Even helps drop the defense requirement of your team. So like a way to go about it is you could potentially run like very YOLO stats on your whole team, and sort of make up for it by using determination runes. So I feel this is more of like a PvE rune, but it is good for certain defense, like defense type damage teams. So things like Copper, Bulldozer, Immensity, those sort of teams, they can make use of the determination rune as well as like an offset, especially for say Immensity. Like potentially, if you just target teams that don't have things like Segment or like anything really fast, you could give them triple determination, and that will help make your Copper and Bulldozer hit much harder, right? So if you don't need like a very fast Immensity to like hit the teams that you're hitting, then you could do that. Or even just like using it as an offset is nice. It's an extra 7% defense for your Bulldozer and Copper. So yeah, those sort of teams is when you probably consider putting it in. Obviously this will still depend on the substat quality compared to your usual guard and rage runes or blade runes. Okay, now the enhanced rune. So this one is another aura. Actually, they're all auras to be honest, but this one increases HP. I think this is the second most like important of the new offsets, right? And I'd say definitely the second best. And the reason why it's second best is because it's harder to put this rune onto your support units, because most support units are gonna want to have violent, right? Like pretty much all healers want to have violent, and the offset will usually be like will or nemesis, ideally. But you could potentially use this as an offset as well. Anyway, so to help increase the survivability of your team. But I think this is probably more for like stall ADs. So if you could probably run like Will Nemesis enhance to make your team a bit tankier, because you probably still want to have at least Nemesis on a lot of your AD units, and Will is still pretty nice to have. Or alternatively, you could have like Nemesis and 2 enhanced runes. That could work too. But I think it's good for like those sort of store ADs like Renas. Renas would probably love this because like if you build like a really like specific store team like Aerial, Double Rena, and something else, then you could probably give your Renas like say a Will rune and then 2 of these enhanced runes, and they will like buff each other up. And then the other units, maybe you can also fit in 1 or 2 that here and there, and yeah, that will make your arenas like really tanky. But I think DPS sort of wins out because there's less need of certain sets for them. But this is still a pretty nice rune, right? If you're struggling for survivability, this is another one you could consider. This is more for fights where you're probably going to get defense broken. So in say dungeons, right, where there's defense break on say the giant or the crystals in Dragon's B10, then the enhanced rune will probably help you a little bit more than the determination rune. So yeah, I would definitely still keep this in mind, but it's a bit more niche, right? That's why you probably won't farm as many of these. Okay, now the accuracy rune. I don't feel this rune is that great because I feel that most of the time, if I'm gonna rune towards like making my team better, right? In any area, most likely I'll be caring more about my attack power or my survivability. So I think this is probably the worst rune out of these, but it's certainly not awful. Like, it really depends on your team. Like say a bomber team could use some of these. I mean, it's a bit of a toss-up because you can either go for accuracy or you can go for more damage on fight. Most of the time you're probably going to go for the damage, I feel, but because you probably just pick up accuracy for substats, because the thing with accuracy is it sort of caps out at, well, the soft cap is basically about 85%, because there's always going to be a 15% chance that your debuff's not going to land. Like, it doesn't matter what the accuracy and resistance is, there's always at least a 15% chance of failing. So you probably just want to have like a decent amount of substats, right? And then just go for as much damage as you can. So I don't know if I would craft that many of these personally. I might, if I was gonna put time and effort into farming one type, or like into farming like the materials to craft runes, it's probably gonna be fight, violent, or like say swift, nemesis, will, that sort of thing. So I would personally skip out on this. Like, I wouldn't really bother building it. Now the tolerance rune, on the other hand, is okay, especially for raids, because you know, for runes, typically you're not going to keep that many like high resist rolled runes, right? You probably prefer to have runes that have a lot of speed, HP, defense, that sort of thing, and then for your damage dealers, the typical damage stats. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for, you know, resistance on your units. So you could go for resistance, right? And that way it sort of reduces the need to have resistance on, you know, a lot of your units. So you could, you know, build around having a couple of these in your raid, and it will help you, you know, reach the 100% resist cap a lot easier, especially with your damage dealers, because, you know, damage dealers, they require a lot of stats, right? So they're very stat hungry. They need like basically everything except for accuracy, and besides accuracy, you need everything else, right? Because they need to be tanky enough to survive and then deal as much damage as possible. So Tyrannus runes are not bad as a 3-man raid rune. For PvP, it's not that great, but you can use it. Like, let's say you want to build a stall AD, but you don't really want to put, like, let's say your runes are very heavy, like heavy in HP and defense, and you don't have much resist on your units. Maybe you want to give like a couple of these onto your some of your units, and that will help give you like a decent amount of accuracy. A decent amount of resist on your team, and that will help, you know, prevent things like bombs and defense break and stuff like that, right? So this is not bad. I would say like a little bit below determination in terms of like priority. Alright, so I think that pretty much covers all the runes. That was, I think the video is already very long, so I'm going to leave it here for the time being. So thanks guys for watching. What I'll do is I'm going to work on my homunculus and then level up my 6 RM, and also get the upgrades, test them out, you know, as well. And when I do that, I'll make it like another video. It's like separate for him, because I feel there's going to be a lot of things to talk about for him. I have to talk about the whole skill tree and all the abilities available to him. So when I unlock all of those, I'll talk about it then. Right? So and I'll probably do another video on the new raids in the future once I actually figure out like a good way to do them more efficiently and, you know, better than what I'm currently doing them at. Alright, so until then, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.